cars. Do they tell Danica Patrick, woman? All right. We're going to have a station with the face. So possible muscles will be the frontal, frontalis, temporalis, occipitalis, orbicularis oculi, the zygomaticus, orbicularis oris, the masseter, the buccinator, buccinator. We got the little mentalis over there, the goatee muscle, and then we can note the SCM. So that would take care of this guy. This model we're actually going to use two ways. What this guy is going to be good for is to show us we have the trapezius, the levator scapulae, the scalenes, okay, the deltoid. We could use him for the latissimus, but also, and we'll have to position this for the altitude impaired, the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, the teres minor, the teres major, and the serratus anterior. So this is something to bear in mind with this practical, because we don't have a lot of models, we don't have a lot of stations, but we're going to have 50 IDs. So it means it's a slow moving process. Okay. We then get to use this as a third station, where we have the pec major, the pec minor, the rectus abdominalis, the transversus, and then the oblique, the linea alba, and then the intercostal. On the arm, one thing for sure that we will definitely have in here is going to be the subscapularis, the coracobrachialis. We could use this for the biceps, the brachialis, the triceps. We probably won't. Instead, we'll be going for the muscles of the forearm. So we've got the brachioradialis, the extensor carpi radialis, the extensor digitorum, the extensor carpi ulnaris, the flexor carpi ulnaris. Remember, ulnaris means to the pinky. We are missing these guys over here. Come on, get back in place. Give me while I do some minor surgery here. Okay, this way. I think you got the general picture. Here we go. Ah, a miracle. Here we go. So we have the palmaris longus, the flexor carpi radialis. Remember, radialis is on the thumb side. The pronator teres, and then the deeper muscle in here, the flexor digitorum. This questionably individual. Yeah, this guy, gal, person would be good for the biceps, the brachialis, the triceps brachii. The brachioradialis actually shows nicely over here, but after that the arms are turned in such a way that you can't make use of them. But this is also going to be good for example, the tensor fasciolata, vastus lateralis, rectus femoris, vastus medialis, the sartorius, the gracilis, the adductor longus, the trapezius, the latissimus dorsi, the gluteus maximus, the biceps femoris, the semimembranosus and semitendinosus, the gastrocs, and the soleus. And we could also use this creasing for the tibialis anterior, the extensor digitorum, and then the fibularis longus and brevis. Which finally brings us to the model of the leg. So we have the psoas and the iliacus. We have the gluteus medius, the piriformis, the superior gemellus, the obturator internus, the inferior gemellus, and the box at the bottom is the quadratus femoris. We've got the pectineus, adductor longus, the gracilis, the adductor magnus, sartorius, rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, biceps femoris, semimembranosus, semitendinosus, tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum, fibularis longus, plantaris, gastroc and soleus, and on the inside, popliteus, flexor hallucis longus, tibialis posterior, and flexor digitorum. And that would be the limit. So the first half is going to be the muscles. And again, you add them up. We've got the face, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 models. So it means we're down to about 8 to 9 IDs per station. So that's why, yeah, it takes a while to get through it. We then get to the nervous system, starting off with the brain. So we'll have a superficial view. So folds or convolutions, folds or folia, major fissures, lateral sulcus, fissure of Sylvius, central sulcus, fissure of Rolando, transverse sulcus, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, temporal lobe, and then cerebellum. On the inferior view, we have the olfactory bulb, the olfactory tract, the optic nerve, and the optic chiasma. The region right here, that would be the midbrain, and then we have the pons, and we have the medulla, and the gray matter that connects the 2 cerebellar hemispheres, this spot right there, that's what we call the vernus. The sagittal section, this guy will stay in one piece. Sagittal section, we're going to note the gray matter fold up here. This is the cingulate gyrus, that's the limbic system. Then we've got the corpus callosum, the lateral ventricle, the fornix, the purplish blue stuff, that's choroid plexus. Then we have pink pineal, the thalamus, the hypothalamus. I don't think we've got a model with an intact pituitary dangling down. I think generally I put a picture of it out so that you go, oh yeah, there's the pituitary dangling down from there. We all know where it is. On the midbrain, we note the corpora quadrigemina, then the cerebral aqueduct, and then the cerebral peduncle. Here is the third ventricle to the fourth ventricle, the arbor vitae, and then pons and medulla again. And then we'll have this guy standing out by himself, so that on the outside there's our fifth lobe, there's the insula, the white matter tract that we see here, that's the internal capsule, the gray matter mass over here, This is the caudate nucleus that's part of the basal nuclei. And then the mass that we see here, this is the lateral mass of the thalamus. So we have insula, internal capsule, caudate, and thalamus. And once again, there's choroid plexus, and then there's the fornix over there. The last model real station is going to be this item over here. So we get to note cervical plexus, brachial plexus. Here is our lumbar plexus, and way down here, that's our sacral plexus. So again, cervical, brachial, lumbar, and then sacral plexus. We have a sympathetic ganglion. We get all the way down to the point. That is our conus medullaris. Then we see the horse's tail, the cauda equina. And way down at the bottom, there's one little line coming straight out to the coccyx, and that's the filum terminale. So if you don't have my CD, take some pictures, because that's what this is all going to be. Now, in addition, there will be a station with the postcard picture. So it's going to be the diagram of the spinal cord that's in the lab manual. So you'll need to be able to identify the epidural space, the dura, the subarachnoid space, the pia, posterior horn, lateral horn, anterior horn, posterior column, lateral column, anterior column. Obviously not all of them, okay? As well as dorsal root ganglion, ventral root, spinal nerve. And then picture of the neuron with dendrites, soma, Nissl bodies, axon hillock, Schwann cells, nudes of Ranvier, and the terminus vitellodendria. So again, it'll be 50-50, 50 muscle IDs, okay? 50 IDs between the brain, the spinal cord, and the neuron. Okay? So, any questions as to what to expect on our final practical?